So I thought this evening is our final evening together, so I kept it very flexible. I don't have a specific specific plan. I will go with whatever you feel. So if you have some topics or some questions, then we can do that. And yeah, we'll pass the time. We'll see how we go. So please think of if there is anything that is in your heart and mind that you'd like to discuss. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Everyone loudly Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Nitai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Shri Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Oh, God. Sorry about that. So thank you everyone for coming again. So this morning we began with Bhagavata Shravan, and then it became Bhagavata questions. What to do? We didn't get so far, but it's okay. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So it was very nice. We glorified a little bit about the Bhagavatam, and specifically the beginning point of Bhagavata Shravan is to understand why the Bhagavata is so special as a book. Jiva Goswami, as I was mentioning, establishes through Tattva Sandarbha why the Bhagavatam is the crest jewel. But he also gives 3 other reasons why you can go to the Bhagavatam as the essence of all knowledge. He says because of 3 reasons. The first reason is the urgency of the listener. I mean, when you've only got 7 days left to live, then obviously you're only going to ask the most important question. And therefore he says the first way in which you can understand Bhagavatam is the most important book. The first reason you can understand it's the most important book is because the person who's listening to it only has 7 days to live. I mean, you don't have time to waste. You have to get to the essence. He says the second reason why you can understand the Bhagavatam is the most important book is because it was written by the most prolific author in the history of the universe as his final contribution. I mean, if you get an author who's like written every single thing, and then he finally says, and this is my life's work, and that final book is the Bhagavatam, because of the author's maturity, you can understand this is a very important book. And the third reason that Jiva Goswami says is because he says the audience's question. He says when Sutta Goswami is speaking to the sages, then the sages ask 6 questions. And the first question is the trigger for speaking Bhagavatam. And what is that question? What is the greatest good for all living beings? So a book which answers that question is probably going to be pretty important. So this is how Jiva Goswami says you can understand Bhagavatam. You can never find another book like this because of these 3 reasons. The listener's urgency, the the author's maturity, and the audience's inquiry. These 3 reasons say that the Bhagavatam is the crest jewel. So we talked about that. And maybe I'll just make a few more comments about the Bhagavatam that we didn't perhaps cover this morning. And then I'll open it up for you to see perhaps what questions you may have. So I was mentioning that Bhagavatam is a series of conversations. So the Bhagavatam that we read is the conversation between Sutta and the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka. And then many, many other conversations are quoted within the Bhagavatam. So I'm going to recite, or we're going to recite together a beautiful verse. This is from the first canto. And this is the 19th verse of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam. And already the listeners are saying, we never tire of hearing, keep speaking, keep speaking. So imagine you're into a conversation with someone and it's only been about a few minutes and you say, keep speaking, like they're already convinced. So this is what the sages of Naimisharanya say, after just hearing 18 verses of the Bhagavatam, this is the conclusion they come to. So you can repeat after me. Vayam tu na vitrepyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasagyana swadu swadu pade pade. Vayam tu na vitrepyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. Vayam tu na vitrepyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. Anyone want to recite? Vayam tu na vitrepyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. Maybe one of the ladies. Vayam tu na vitrepyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with Him relish hearing His pastimes at every moment. So just 18 verses after suttas started speaking, the sages are like, don't stop, just carry on, keep going. Because rasa jnanam, on the first day we talked about rasa, everyone is looking for rasa. So if you become a rasika means one who knows how to taste rasa. So therefore the beginning of the Bhagavatam says, Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Rasika in English means a connoisseur. How do you say in French? A connoisseur? Connoisseur, isn't it? Like if you go to south of France and you go to, I don't know, Bordeaux or somewhere like that. Bordeaux is south of France, right? Yeah. So then you go to one of these wine cellars, right? And then they have like 400 years old wine. And then if someone is a connoisseur, then he can taste one drop and understand so many things just by one taste. Because the taste has become refined, not refined actually. But you know what I mean. So if one becomes a rasika, then one can taste rasa. If one is not a rasika, then when one hears this jnanam, they'll go to sleep. Because they don't know how to taste. Therefore, rasa theology means the taster tastes the taste because of good taste. The taster tastes the taste because they have good taste. If you don't have good taste, then you can be in the vicinity of the most incredible rasa, and still your heart will not be moved. But the moment you are a rasika, then rasa jnanam, every word is like nectar. And therefore svadu svadu pade pade, at every step you're relishing newer and newer things. So the goal of life is to become a rasika. That is the goal of Krishna consciousness, to become a rasika. Prabhupada writes, There is a great difference between mundane stories, fiction, or history, and the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The histories of the whole universe contain references to the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord. The Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Puranas are histories of bygone ages recorded in connection with the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord, and therefore remain ever fresh, even after repeated readings. For example, anyone may read the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam repeatedly throughout his whole life, and yet find in them new light of information. Mundane news is static, whereas transcendental news is dynamic. Inasmuch as the spirit is dynamic and matter is static, those who have developed a taste for understanding the transcendental subject matter are never tired of hearing such narrations. One is quickly satiated by mundane activities, but no one is satiated by transcendental or devotional activities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today you can go to Vrindavan. As you know, there are 12 forests in Vrindavan. So there's one very, very beautiful forest called Bahulavan. Bahulavan is a very, very beautiful forest, very, very quiet, very, very simple. And there, this forest is famous because of a cow called Bahula. I won't tell you the whole story, but it's a very, very beautiful story of simplicity and a very beautiful story of selflessness in which the Supreme Lord appeared to the cow, Bahula. But the reason I'm telling you this is because if you go to Bahulavan, there is a temple there. And this is the temple of Bahula. And as you can imagine, pilgrims come there every day. And there is one pujari who has been living there for nearly 50 years. And every time someone comes, he tells them the story of Bahula. Can you imagine telling the same story every single day, 365 days a year for 50 years? And when I sat down to hear the story from this pujari, it's like they were telling me it for the first time. Yatrin vatam rasagyanam svadu svadu pade pade. This is real. This is going on. And so this is the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord's pastimes are eternal, Nitya Leela. He said the pastimes of Krishna are always going on in the spiritual world, therefore Nitya Leela. The pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always going on somewhere in the material world, Nitya Leela. But the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always going on in the hearts of the devotees. They are visualizing things. Someone like Jiva Goswami can take the Bhagavatam, take Krishna's pastimes, and then begin giving extra details about what is happening between Radha and Krishna that's not even written in the Bhagavatam. Where did you get that from? And Krishna said this, and Radha said that, and then they went there, and you're like, where did he get that from? Because it's going on. It's all going on, Prabhupada says, like a television within the hearts of the devotees. So, when we hear these stories, when we hear this philosophy, I speak for myself, we are hearing information. But when the great devotees are tasting this, then they're living in those pastimes. They're living with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very beautiful. Oh, sorry, there was more to the purport. Okay, let's read this. Uttama Shloka indicates that literature which is not meant for nescience. Mundane literature is in the mode of darkness or ignorance, whereas transcendental literature is quite different. Transcendental literature is above the mode of darkness, and its light becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization of the transcendental subject matter. The so-called liberated persons are never satisfied by the repetition of the words Aham Brahmasmi. Such artificial realization of Brahman becomes hackneyed, and so to relish real pleasure, they turn to the narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are not so fortunate turn to altruism and worldly philanthropy. This means the Mayavad philosophy is mundane, whereas the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental. So, this reading of the Bhagavatam is very mystical because Srimad Bhagavatam and the knowledge that it gives, the first thing that it does is it helps you in this life. See, knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita is compared to different things. Firstly, Krishna will compare knowledge to a fire. Jnanagni karmadagdanam tamahur pandita buddha. If you grasp this knowledge is like a fire. Why a fire? Because each one of us are meant to go through karmic reactions in our life. But if you understand lessons through the scripture, then the lessons and the knowledge of scripture become like a fire, and all the karmic reactions that you're due become incinerated. So knowledge is so powerful that if you learn by hearing, you can save yourself so much suffering in the world. The best type of person is the person who learns by hearing. If you learn to hear Bhagavatam well, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati noted Prabhupada. He said he hears very well. He does not go away. He sits and he drinks. He listens. Because if you listen to Bhagavatam well, you can save yourself from so much suffering. So jnana is like an agni. Jnana is also a plava. Anyone know what a plava means? It means a boat. Knowledge is also like a boat. Because the world is full of waves. The world is full of ups and downs. Today is Sunday and tomorrow is Monday. Monday is generally a very volatile day. You never know. I mean, in New Mayapur, every day is good. But in the material world out there, Monday is a very volatile day because you never know what's going to be the news on Monday morning. It's another week. So the world is very, very unpredictable. Tomorrow anything could happen. Tomorrow news could drop. Tomorrow someone could leave from your life. Tomorrow there could be an outbreak of COVID-19. Something may happen. So it's a world full of waves. But when you're in knowledge, when you're in the boat of knowledge, then those waves don't affect. You have a steadiness. You can navigate all the volatility of the world. So therefore, jnana is like a plava. Jnana is also like a ashina. Jnana ashina. Ashina means a sword. Knowledge is also like a sword because everybody is riddled by doubts. Doubts in the philosophy, doubts in the devotees, doubts in the Hare Krishna movement, doubts in themselves. Can I do it? Will I be able to do it? So we have so many doubts. But when you're in knowledge, then knowledge acts like a sword to cut away all the doubts. And when the doubts are gone, then the full conviction comes. And when the conviction comes, then the rasa flows. And therefore, knowledge is like a sword. And jnana, deepena. Knowledge is also like a lamp. Because sometimes in life we get carried away by the darkness of Kali Yuga and we forget what is my destination. Right? Things happen, responsibilities come, pressures land, problems need to be solved, responsibilities put pressure on you, so many people are talking, you have to respond. So it's so noisy, the world, and then we forget, who am I, where am I going, what's the purpose of my life? It's so easy to forget. Therefore, knowledge always keeps you awake. Don't take the illusion too seriously. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's okay. Just remember, keep walking to your destination. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get sidetracked by politics. Don't get sidetracked by material desires. Don't get sidetracked by other people's opinions. Lamp. The lamp illuminates the exit. Know where you're going. Like that. So therefore, when you go into the Srimad Bhagavatam, you get all this incredible knowledge, and then you come out into the world and you can live in this world. However, there's something more than this. There's Srimad Bhagavatam in the world. How the Srimad Bhagavatam helps you in the world. But then, there is the world of Srimad Bhagavatam. In other words, most people don't go to the Bhagavatam. Some people go to the Bhagavatam, get knowledge, and then they come out into the world, and then they live in the world in a very nice way. But a rare few souls will go to the Bhagavatam, will start reading the Bhagavatam, will enter the world of Bhagavatam, and will stay there. This is not the real world, folks. The Matrix. The real world is the world of Krishna, the world of the Bhagavatam, the world where every step is a dance, every word is a song. So therefore, when one learns how to enter the world of Bhagavatam, not just that the Bhagavatam helps you to live in this world, yes, that's true, but there's a deeper understanding that if you become a rasika, then you can live in the world of Bhagavatam. Imagine that. You just open the Bhagavatam and you become so absorbed that you forget all your problems. Dear friends, in this world, there is no solution to the problems. There's only the opportunity of absorption in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you get absorbed in Srimad Bhagavatam, your solutions, there's no solution. Forget the solutions. But if you get absorbed in Bhagavatam, then the problems won't disappear. But the problems won't matter. Everyone in the world is trying to solve their problems. There's no solution. This place is rubber stamped, dukkha alayam, shashvatam. The only opportunity is to become absorbed in the eternal world through the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then one gets that absorption, that feeling of rasa jnanam is what will save someone. This, of course, what I'm speaking here is very, very elevated, right? Very elevated. But this is what the acharyas are inviting us to do. To realize that the Bhagavatam is introducing us to Krishna's world. And so to somehow connect with that deeply, this is the great opportunity. So, what can I say? There's so many more things to say on this, but I think I'll stop here. So we were supposed to, in this seminar, talk about the 5 powerful forms of devotional service. So we did Sadhu Sangha, we did Nama Kirtan, and we did Bhagavata Shravan. The final 2, another time. But these 3 in themselves are enough. So I tried to share with you some ideas, some thoughts on this. So I don't want to talk for the whole time. So let me stop here and see whether you may have any questions on Bhagavata Shravan or on any of the other processes that we talked about. And we can just have some questions and answers like that. So yes, would anyone like to?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is about the first seminar you gave. You said that the Anartha Nivritti was a very difficult and dangerous stage. So could you explain a bit more about the danger of this stage? And also, my question is on the Bhakti Lata. How will you know? How we know where we are on the Bhakti Lata? It doesn't work, right? Yeah. How can we? How do we? Oh, sorry. Do you want me to repeat?
I got it.
You
I think yeah. So I think everyone heard it. So why is anartha nivritti so dangerous? Or why is it so difficult? Okay. Oh, what is anartha nivritti? Okay, sure. Yeah, no, thank you for asking. Okay, so let me just go back to this. So I was showing you this diagram, right? You remember this diagram I was showing you? Right. So we get Shraddha, we begin with some faith, and then we're going through 9 stages. This is originally documented by Sri Rupa Goswami, but is expounded upon by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So I'll do your second question first. You're saying, how do we know where we are? So if you look at this diagram very closely, then every stage has many characteristics, right? So here you see all these. I can't go through it. This is a whole seminar. But basically, if you read this book, then at every stage it will tell you the archetype characteristics of someone at that stage. So it's actually very easy to identify where you are, right? For most of us, it's not like confusing. Like, am I in Ruchi? Like, no, Ruchi. Maybe some Ruchi comes sometimes, but it's very elevated, right? So it's documented here. Okay. So then the next question you have is, why is anartha nivritti so dangerous? Okay. So say this is material consciousness. This is Krishna consciousness. Okay. So what's happening in the start is we are just in material consciousness, basically, right? Eat, drink, be merry, enjoy, that's it. That's the goal of life, right? And then what happens is you get knowledge. And then once you get knowledge, you realize, no, there is a supreme source, there's a divinity, that divinity loves me, and that divinity is Krishna. And therefore, we try to take ourselves to Krishna consciousness. So we're trying to live on this platform of Krishna consciousness. But we still don't have realization. It's theoretical. Right? Yeah, Krishna exists, but it's theoretical. Right? We don't. So therefore, what is keeping you here in Krishna consciousness? It's not taste. It's not realization. What's keeping you here? It's maybe knowledge, maybe association, maybe duty, maybe determination. That is what is holding up your Krishna consciousness, right? So this is anartha nivritti, right? We're trying to be Krishna conscious, but it's not coming naturally. We have lust, anger, greed, envy, these kind of things. So now, if you try to maintain Krishna consciousness only on this, it's very volatile. Because how long does your determination last, right? Right? Like I could say, this is very light, I can hold it. But if I have to hold it for 1 year, it's going to become difficult. Right? So to hold it up only on determination, difficult. To hold it up only on knowledge, difficult. To hold it up only on duty, difficult. Therefore, in anartha nivritti, it's a very dangerous stage because our Krishna consciousness is only held by these things. Later on, when you come out of anartha nivritti and you go to nishta and then ruchi and then others, then you have taste. And therefore, if you make it to taste, if you break through and you make it to taste, then nishta. Nishta means conviction. You can't be moved now. You have taste. You can't move. So the reason why anartha nivritti is so dangerous is because we don't have taste, full taste, mature taste. And we're only being held up on duty, determination, vows. But duty, determination, vows, rules, regulations are important. Because until and unless you follow that, you can't fully achieve the purity of heart to manifest full taste. Someone at anartha nivritti may think they have taste. But imagine tomorrow if some calamity happens in your life. I have taste. I love it. When I come in front of the deities, I'm so emotional. My heart moves. I'm not, maybe. But for most people, you may say that. But tomorrow, if the waves of life come, some shocking incident, will you have the taste to stay? Therefore, we say, not a fair weather devotee. The material world is a harsh place. You need to be rooted deeply. Therefore, the rules and regulations, the Vedi is so important because it purifies the heart. And when the heart is purified, then the love is unstoppable. Yeah? Like Radha. What does Radha mean? Raga Dhavati. Radha, one meaning of Radha's name is Raga Dhavati. She who is running after her object of attachment. In other words, you can't hold someone back once they're running towards Krishna. But that raga, until it comes, is always. Right? So that's why. Does that make sense? Yeah. Bhakti rasa. It's not no bhakti. It's not so linear that as someone at Anartha Nivritti doesn't have any bhakti. Of course, everyone has, but it's like a blossoming flower. Right? That's why that analogy of the bhakti lata is given. So everyone has some love, but is the love awakened? All right. Yes.
Maharaj, the most exhausting thing about living in this material world is that throughout most of our lives, it's like we're playing a game and wearing a mask and trying to be something. So my question is that how can the limbs of bhakti help us to live outside of this and really be authentic? Like how can doing Shravanam and Sadhu Sangha, Kirtan help us to be our true selves and not play these like games and really be, live fully and be true to ourselves.
Thank you. Everyone in the world is looking to be appreciated. Everyone in the world is looking to be acknowledged. Everyone wants to be... everyone wants some attention. Right? Why is that? Because all of us are insecure. We need the world to say, you're good. Because we're insecure. And why are we insecure? Because we're disconnected from Krishna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnam Udachyate Purnasyam Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasheshyate. Krishna is perfect. And every living being is also perfect. But when the living being is disconnected from Krishna, then the living being feels themselves to be imperfect. Vacuum. And because of that vacuum, we look to fill that vacuum by being accepted in the material world. So when one is fully connected to Krishna, when one has love for Krishna, and when one knows Krishna loves me, then one can be their true self. No pretension, no trying to impress everyone. Krishna loves me. And whatever I'm meant to do in this world, I'll do it as service. Because one is. It's interesting, one person came to meet Prabhupada and he was very suspicious of gurus. But Prabhupada was being glorified. He said, I'm going to drive him around for some time and I'm definitely going to be with him from morning to evening. I'll find some fault in him. I know he must have some fault. After a few days, his realization was interesting. He said, this man is a saint. And so someone asked him, how do you know? And his answer was this. He said, because I followed him from morning to evening. And in every forum, I watched him, I observed him, and he was never trying to impress anyone. He was never trying to impress anyone. Just his authentic self. What you see is what you get. You can only be like that when you know Krishna loves me. then you don't need any acknowledgement or appreciation. Krishna loves me. What more could I ask for? So that takes time. So therefore, everyone in this world is covered by layers of inauthenticity because we're looking for attention and appreciation from others in some way, shape or form. Therefore, people end up doing jobs. They go down life paths. They didn't even choose it. It's amazing. The worst type of success is when you meet all of your goals and then you realize they were somebody else's goals. So that's why we're perfect, complete, when we know we're connected with Krishna. That's one answer. I'm sure there could be many others, but that's what immediately came to me today. Is that okay? Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful presentation. And I have a question about one. You know the story. There was one man who was holding Bhagavad Gita upside down. So he was illiterate. Lord Chaitanya embraced him because he seemed to understand the rasa, but at the same time
he couldn't read it. Yeah.
He couldn't read it. My question is it like was he studying and cultivating faith in the previous life, or it's what is your take?
So all of you may be familiar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India, and in one temple he saw a Brahmana, but the Brahmana was illiterate. So he was holding the Gita, and everyone around him was laughing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to the Brahmana, "Why are they laughing at you?" He said, "Because my spiritual master gave me the instruction to read Bhagavad Gita, but I'm illiterate, so I can't read it." So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at him, and he was the Brahmana was emotional. He was crying, So Mahaprabhu said, "But you're so emotionally moved by the Gita. How can you be moved by the Gita if you can't read it?" And he said, "No, I may not be able to read all the words, but when I think that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he has become the chariot driver of his devotee, he has become the servant, he's taken such a menial position, then it overwhelms me with love to think how kind the Supreme Person is that he's willing to take such a position. And therefore, even though I can't read the words, just knowing that Krishna became the chariot driver moves me to tears." Mahaprabhu said, "You got it. Well done. You understood." In other words, you don't have to be a scholar. How did he get that faith? It doesn't say what his previous life was. That simple faith somehow or other has to manifest. You can learn all the shlokas under the sun, but if you don't have simple faith in Krishna, you still have work to do. So it's very hope-giving. It means you don't have to become a scholar. It doesn't mean you don't have to memorize everything. You just have to have simple faith and love in your heart. But how to get there? That is what we're praying for. Okay? Yes, okay. Okay, Maj, you can say and then I'll repeat. You can say and then I'll repeat, yes. So how to control the mind? Okay, so Arjuna asked Krishna the same question. And this is what Krishna... Arjuna says, Vayuriva sadushkaram. To control the wind, I think Krishna is more difficult. To control the mind is more difficult than to control the wind. So this is Krishna's reply. Shamshaya mahabaho manodurni graham chalam abhyasena tu konteya vairagyena chigriyate. It is very difficult to curb the restless mind But it's possible by abhyas and vairagya. These are the two secrets. Vairagya means first thing is don't take your mind too seriously. Be detached from it. Sometimes we take our mind so seriously, a thought comes, I have to do something with it. No, you don't. Just let it come and ignore it. That's it. Finish. We take our mind too serious. So the first thing Krishna says is vairagya. Just be a little detached. Don't identify with the mind. Identify the mind. You are not the mind. You are the observer of the mind. So that's the first thing. And then Krishna says that will calm the mind down. The mind is like a lion. So if you feed it, it becomes even more voracious. So sometimes you just have to let them, just like a kid, you know. And then Krishna says abhyas. Then through absorbing the mind in Krishna, through the 5 powerful forms of devotional service, then the mind starts moving toward Krishna. So simple, in theory. Is that okay? Yes. Means the Srimati Radharani is in the culmination of the Bhagavatam. So can I give an example of where Srimati Radharani is mentioned? So this is the famous verse. So some people say, where is Srimati Radharani in Bhagavatam? But this is the verse. Anayaradito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yanno vihaya govinda Prito yam anayadraha. So it's said that Sukadev would not mention Sri Radha's name. Because Parikshit, for 2 reasons it said. One is that Parikshit only had 7 days to live. And he had to deliver the whole. So if he would say Sri Radha's name, it's very unpredictable. He may go into ecstasy. And when someone goes into ecstasy, it takes them some time to land back in the material world again. So he didn't want to risk that. And it's also said because it was not only Parikshit hearing Bhagavatam, there were many, many sages there listening, and not all of them would have been able to appreciate the glories of Sri Radha, which is very confidential. So we don't openly talk about Sri Radha's glory, but it's very confidential. But then the acharyas say that actually he did mention Sri Radha's name, but in a concealed way. So this word, Anaya Radhito Nunam, there was one gopi who perfectly worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was so pleased with her that even when he abandoned all the gopis, he took her with him. So this is a mention of Srimati Radharani. So it's only the Goswamis that reveal all these things to the world. Therefore, if you want to know the real secrets of Bhagavatam, you have to hear from the Goswamis. They reveal.
Ce que vous pouvez voir dans chaque verset du Srimad Bhagavatam. Alors, comment? C'est trop ésotérique, non?
See, a great devotee, what it was happening is that everything is triggering a series of thoughts. So say, for example, like, if you come to New Mayapur and you see someone's car, then immediately, as soon as you see their car, you remember the person. Because now the car and the person has become like non-different to you. Like you make the connection. So for a great devotee, everything in the material world, everything triggers a remembrance of Krishna and ultimately Sri Radha. So therefore it's said that every syllable of the Bhagavatam rains pure love of Godhead. Prema varshak sharayate Paramananda pathaya prema varshak sharayate. Sanatana Goswami says every syllable rains pure love of Godhead. And then you find that like there's a verse about, I don't know, like Patala Loka or something, like a hellish planet. You think like, okay, this is raining pure love of Godhead. This is like talking about like a hellish planet where you burn for like 50,000 years or something. Like, okay. But what it is that a devotee is almost like instantaneously, they just make all the connections back, and it ultimately always comes back to Krishna. So you'd have to ask a pure devotee the connection from Patala Loka back to Sri Radha. I'm sure they have a connection route. But they begin to see, yes, the material world, the source of the world is Krishna. Krishna is compassionate. He creates. Boom, 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 boom. And then by the time you know it, they're at Sri Radha. Because the mind always goes there. So right now we have what we call in Sanskrit Pritag Bhav. Pritag Bhav means a separatist mentality. What we try to do, whenever we see something in the world, we separate it from Krishna. And then I try to enjoy it. There's nothing godly about this. This is for my enjoyment. Enjoy it. But a devotee has no Pritag Bhav. Everything is connected. Therefore, anything you see, it reminds you of Krishna. Therefore, Yo Mam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mai Pasyati. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So it's kind of inconceivable. But this is basically what happens. That's why a pure devotee can read the Bhagavatam and see Krishna in every syllable. Because everything is a trigger for remembrance of Krishna. Hope that helps. Yes. Yeah, sure. Someone will have to translate. Yeah. Yes, of course.
First question is about Harinam. Sometimes we may think, what is the use to do Harinam in the street? We may think, but doesn't bring so many devotees. So maybe could you speak a little bit more about the benefits of doing Harinam? Why our Acharya Srila Prabhupada requested us to do Harinam? Prabhu also.
Yes, so what is the effect of Harinam? Well, the first thing is I would say, sometimes people ask us the question, how did you become a devotee? And then generally we give an answer like, someone gave me a book, or I met a devotee here. But I invite people to look closer at their lives. One thing did not make you a devotee. Maybe you had some prasadam, maybe you heard a Harinam, maybe then you visited a temple and then you read a book, and the book finally was the thing that convinced you. But that book wouldn't have had its power if the other things were not there. So one thing never makes a devotee in one sense. Many repeated experiences make someone open to Krishna consciousness. So Harinam is very, very beautiful because immediately, in a very short time, many people are getting an exposure. So you may say, but they're not becoming devotees, but maybe the heart is becoming prepared. Right? It's funny, like when I was 8 or 9 years old, I was in Amsterdam with my parents. And I think it's the first time I saw a Harinam party. And to this day, because I go to Amsterdam every year, to this day, I can remember the exact spot where I saw the Harinam. And I realized it's such a deep impression actually. I didn't become a devotee, but it left such a deep impression on me. So Harinam is the holy name. The holy name is powerful. And even if we don't see the immediate effects, we can understand that it's an exposure which will set people on a journey. So it's Krishna, you know.
And the second question is regarding japa. Could you give some tips or advices how to be more absorbed in the japa?
Of course, I mean, first thing is see, japa is difficult. I mentioned this the other day. Because in japa there is no extra immediate benefit that you get. It's the pure holy name. Therefore, when we do japa, we're confronted with the mind. The first thing that I think is very important is to understand the glories of the activity that you're doing. You know, sometimes before chanting, just reading something, understanding this is a great opportunity. This is a very, very sacred time. Krishna says, Japosmi, of all yagyas, I am the chanting of the holy name. It's very, very sacred. So I think the first thing is like, Sachinandan Maharaj, he calls it yojana, alignment. Maybe I'll share with you the 6 keys that Sachinandan Maharaj gives for japa. So the first thing he says is yojana. Yojana means alignment. Oftentimes our body, our mind and everything is all scattered all over the world. So the first thing we do in japa is yojana. Maybe you do some pranayam, maybe you read something, maybe you take some moments to reflect, but you arrive and realize I'm doing an incredibly important activity now. So first thing is yojana. Then he says second thing is sambandha. When you chant, you should chant knowing I'm a servant of Krishna. I'm doing this for the pleasure of Krishna. You should chant in the mood of service. If we chant in the mood of enjoyment, if we chant in the mood of seeking an experience, if we chant in the mood of expecting something, then we're not chanting in sambandha. When we chant in sambandha, we chant as a servant to give pleasure to Krishna, to try to open our heart to Krishna so Krishna can see. Then he says the third thing is seva. So when you chant, Prabhupada gave us the meaning of the mantra. Please, Lord, engage me in your service. So when you approach the Lord as a servant and when your only prayer is, let me become a better servant. When you chant in that mood of a servant, requesting only service, then he says the japa goes deeper. And then the fourth thing he says is vipralamba. Vipralamba means to chant with great longing, to chant with separation, to chant with a sense of when will I meet you, Krishna, when will I see, when will I be able to serve you directly. So to bring some more emotion. And then the next thing he says is sankalpa. Then you have to make a determination. Japa also, you need determination. So you have to make a sankalpa that I will do this much, I will. So that inner resolve must be there. So these are 6 things he says. Okay. See. Oh, you have the book, right? Living Name. Yes, exactly. So it's there. So it's, you can work on these things. Shikshashta Kampu and then...
Yeah, my question, Maharaj, relates to one of the angas which you didn't have the time to speak with, and particularly residing in Mathura. So what is the inner meaning of residing in Mathura, knowing that I suppose Srila Rupa Goswami did know that the majority of people will not be living in Mathura.
Yeah.
So what is the realization we're supposed to have with... sometimes we also read residing on Mathura or remembering the holy name, the holy Dham, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So which one of, I mean, what is your...
So what is it? Yeah. What is residing in Mathura? Well, if one boils down the definition of Mathura or Vrindavan, what is Vrindavan? So you can say in its broadest sense, Vrindavan is the place where Krishna is the center. Right? That's the definition of Vrindavan. That you know Vrindavan is Vrindavan because everyone and everything is based on Krishna's pleasure. And therefore everything that's being done in Vrindavan is for Krishna's pleasure. So in the most basic sense, Mathura Vrindavan is that place where Krishna is the center. And therefore later on what the acharyas who commentate on Rupa Goswami, they say there are 4 types of Vrindavan. There is Goloka Vrindavan, Vrindavan in the spiritual world. There is Bhauma Vrindavan, the earthly Vrindavan that you go to in this world. Then he says there is the Vrindavan within the heart of the devotee, the inner Vrindavan. And then he says the 4th Vrindavan is the manifested Vrindavan, whereby a pure devotee can go to a place, establish Krishna as the center, and that whole place becomes new Vrindavan. That's also Vrindavan. So the later acharyas mentioned that these types of, this is actually what it means, Mathura Vas. That either you should live in Goloka Vrindavan, that might be difficult to get a ticket right now. So then you can go to Bhauma Vrindavan, but Bhauma Vrindavan, maybe you can go, maybe you not go, but maybe you may have service. Also sometimes it's discouraged from remaining in Bhauma Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu told, was it Jagadananda Pandit or someone, that don't go for more than 3 days. You should only go for inspiration. Don't stay there because unless you have service, you can also commit offense there. So one may not stay in earthly Vrindavan, then one should stay amongst the association of devotees because that is the manifested Mathura of Vrindavan. And then ultimately one must create Vrindavan in their own heart by keeping Krishna in the center. Then they're always living in Vrindavan. Prabhupada, wherever he went, he was a walking Vrindavan. So in that sense, we can broaden the definition of what it means, Mathura Vas. However, we shouldn't broaden the definition so much that we forget that going to Bhauma Vrindavan, going to Mathura, is very powerful. Because anyone who goes to the holy Dham, there is a very powerful Shakti that is there that attracts you to Krishna. And so anyone who spends time in Vrindavan, they become deeply transformed. But I think the deeper meaning of Mathura Vas is that there are these different manifestations of Mathura Vrindavan, and one should take shelter in one of these. That's my understanding. Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Giri Govardhan.
I wanted to know when there is apparently some contradiction or conflict in between the scriptures, or what will be the priority. For example, in some part of the Vedas it is said that Krishna, that Shiva gives the liberation, and some other parts they say that no, Vishnu gives liberation. So how to concile the two, these two aspects, especially when you read 4th canto, the Pracheta were practicing austerity, and finally they got the darshan of Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva redirected them to Lord Vishnu. so they change her rasa also. So it looks like a conflict in between the scriptures themselves.
Yeah, the scriptures can't be contradictory, but they can be paradoxical. There's a difference between contradiction and paradox. Paradox means something which on the surface seems to clash, but when you go deeper, you can understand there is a way to reconcile. I'll give you an example. Like, say, for example, I ask you, who came first, the father or the son? What would you say? Father, of course. Wrong. Because until the boy is born, is he a father? So first the son has to be born, and then the father is born. So someone could make the statement, the father comes before the son, obviously. Someone else could make the statement, the son comes before the father. True. Now, on the surface, those two statements seem to contradict. But in a deeper sense, we understand they're both true in their own way. So if, for example, Shiva is the one who gives liberation, but Krishna is Mukunda. Mukunda means the one who gives mukti. So how are these both true? Yes, Shiva can give one type of liberation, and Krishna can give another type of liberation. So many of these terms are flexible. Like, what does even liberation mean? Liberated from what? Someone may be able to liberate you, but from what? What are they liberating? And Krishna, what can he liberate you? But from what? So therefore, like you said, different destinations, different types of liberation. So like that, therefore, Gopaswami Prabhu this morning talked about hermeneutics. So this is hermeneutics. It means, how do you understand the statement of a literature? What is the method by which you actually understand the statement? And obviously our basic hermeneutic is Guru Sadhu Shastra. And most of these contradictions are resolved within that framework of Guru Sadhu Shastra. So yeah, is that okay? Yes.
Maharaj, do you hear me?
Yes.
Could you tell us more about the love of Radha and Krishna?
Oh.
Okay, we're moving on to the... The love of Radha and Krishna is obviously indescribable in words. It's said that Krishna is sitting next to Srimati Radharani and thinking she is so beautiful. And then Srimati Radharani smiles. And when Krishna sees her smile, he's just like, oh my God, I thought I know how beautiful she was, and now she's just so much more. And then Krishna smiles, and Sri Radha thinks, I thought I knew Krishna's beauty, but now he's smiling. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And then she smiles even more, and then Krishna looks at her. And how do you encompass all of this? How do you understand this? Even if you ask someone of this world, how does it feel to love her? How does it feel to love him? And that's only lust. How you will explain? Srimati Radharani is, well, all the gopis were together one day, and then each of the gopis were asking each other, what did you dream about last night? So each of them were saying, and I dreamt this about Krishna, and I dreamt this about Krishna. And they asked Sri Radha, and you're quiet, what did you dream about Krishna? And Sri Radha looks down and said, dream about Krishna, dream about Krishna. All night I couldn't go to sleep because I was thinking of Krishna. Where's the question of a dream? So these are all inconceivable points. When Krishna leaves Vrindavan, then the gopis are beyond themselves. But then Krishna says, I'll come back. I'll be back. I will return. How can we understand what that separation feels like? Sri Radha's love is so great that it makes Krishna contradict all his words. Krishna says, I know everything. I know everything, past, present and future. I know all living beings. Krishna said it in the Bhagavad Gita. And then Krishna looks at Srimati Radharani's love and says, I don't know. No, but you said, Vedaham samatitani vartamani charjana. You know everything. I don't know. She made me contradict my words. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, however they surrender unto me, I will reward them accordingly. Krishna said it, black and white. But then Krishna looks at Srimati Radharani and says, Napadaye ham niravadya samyujam sasadu krityam vibudaya. I can't repay you. I can't reciprocate. I can't reciprocate with the way that you've loved me. I have nothing to give you. But you said, as you surrender, yeah, cancel it. Cancel it. It's not true. I can't reciprocate with her. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam. I'm directing the wanderings of all living beings. But then Krishna, what can he do? He's Srimati Radharani is like he's a doll in her hands. So some topics, how can we, like in Braj, one time it was coming to Radhastami. So one Brijabasi was giving katha on Radha. 7 days katha on Radha. Radha's love for Krishna. So first day he gave the katha and he glorified Krishna. Krishna, Radha. Second day came. The whole evening he glorified Krishna. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth day, glorifying Krishna. Everyone's looking at their watch. Radhastami is coming. Seventh day, he begins the katha, glorifying Krishna. Krishna, 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 Krishna. And then right when the katha is about to end, he says, and it is this Krishna who bows down to the dust of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. He said, how can I glorify Srimati Radharani? All I can tell you is how great Krishna is. I can tell you for endless days how great Krishna is. But that Krishna who's so great, he has to bow down. Maybe that will give you some glimpse of how glorious and pure the love of Srimati Radharani is. So we hear all of this and we pray that our hearts will become touched, that we will become soft, that that one day we can enter this. This is what the Gaudiyas are meant for. The Gaudiyas are meant for understanding the love of Radha and Krishna. So yes, like this, many things could be said. Some thoughts.
Thank you. How do we handle compliments and praise without becoming puffed up?
Don't worry, hang around in the Hare Krishna movement. You'll be balanced out soon, don't worry.
Hopefully.
Of course, when somebody compliments us, I think the first and foremost thing is it makes us realize the glory of that person. Look at me, I'm such a miser. When was the last time I went out and glorified someone so wholeheartedly? But look how many nice words they're giving me. When did I ever say that to someone? Look how amazing they are. So the first thing is it actually takes the attention away from you because you think, oh my God, I'm such a miser, I never say that to anyone. That's the first thing. Oh.
When I'm praised, I'm thinking, oh, I'm so great.
Yeah, so that's, yeah. So So that's the first thing. We see the compliment as an illumination of their glory. The second thing is we see the compliment, if there is anything good, it's only because, right? Like, who were we before we joined the Hare Krishna? Like, we were like a zero, right? Like just hanging around, causing trouble, you know, like, but somehow or other, the devotees molded me into something useful, so the credit must go to them, so you pass it on. The third thing you can do when someone compliments you is you can think, this is what they're telling me I should become. Right? Like, oh, you're so humble. Okay, I better become humble now, right? Like, so you can also frame someone's compliment in such a way that you realize this is actually what I have to become. They're reminding me what I have to become. So all of this, but yeah, it's hard, you know, it's hard. What to do.
Thank you very much. That helped.
You're great. I have to become great. Gopaswami Prabhu. I think Gopaswami Prabhu wanted to.
Bahulaban.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Sri Prabhupada named this new Mayapur first, New Bahulaban.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then he named it New Mayapur for good reasons. But still, can you give us a little more? What's the nectar about Bahulaban forest, or the story of Bahula?
Yeah, sure. I didn't know that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Sure. I'm sure Gopaswami Prabhu has more than me. But, okay. Yes, there was a cow called Bahula, and she had a calf, a very baby, beautiful. Have you seen like the baby calf suckling from the mother? Very, very beautiful sight. Actually, it said when you go Braj, and if you would see a calf sucking from the mother, it's very, very auspicious. So like this, the cow had come, and they were out grazing in the forest. And then a tiger came. And the tiger came and seized, how did it go? He seized the calf, no? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. He wanted to seize the calf, right? And so the Bahula said to him, no, I will give her to you, no problem. But let me... No, sorry. The tiger wanted to kill Bahula, right? Like that, right? Yes. So he wanted to eat Bahula. So Bahula said, no, let me first. I will come, definitely. You can have my life, no problem. But let me just go one time back and feed my calf once. Just once. Let me at least experience that love and explain. And then I will definitely come back. So the tiger agreed. He was so touched by her purity. So she went back. And then when she went back, she fed her calf very beautifully. And then she said, so I was out in the forest and the tiger was there. So the tiger wants to eat me. And I have to keep my word. A Vaishnava must always keep their word. So I have to go back. So I want all of you to be safe. So I will go. I will sacrifice my life. And then the calf objected. The calf said, no. I will sacrifice my life. And let him eat me. You should stay alive. And then it said that the owner was right there and he was overhearing. And then he said, no. I will sacrifice my life. And both of you should stay alive. So all three of them went to the tiger. Eat me. Tiger was thinking, I got 3 for 1, you know. Like I thought I was going to get 1 here. I got 3. And so the tiger was trying to figure it out. No, he wants to sacrifice to save them. No, the calf wants to sacrifice to save them. No, Bahula wants to sacrifice to save them. And at that moment, the tiger turned, right? to Vishnu or Krishna, and said, I had come to test you. I had come to test your simplicity, your purity, your selflessness. So it's a very beautiful forest, actually. It's very... that mood of simplicity so much exudes through that forest of Bahulavan. We stayed there for one night under the stars. It was very beautiful. And you realize how in this world it's so difficult to be simple. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, Saralata Vaishnavatva. Simplicity is Vaishnavism. If you're able to be simple in your speech, simple in the way you conduct yourself, simple in all your habits, simple and straightforward, non-pretentious, non-duplicitous, to be so genuine, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, this is Vaishnava. Very simple. So simple that he'll even tell the enemy all his secrets. Difficult in management. Like you're thinking like, okay, how does this all work in the ISKCON world? Somehow or other we have to sometimes do things, but outside of that to be very simple. So it's not so easy to be simple, but in such an environment like New Mayapur, it becomes so much easier, no? Coming from me, the city boy. It's so easy to be simple. It's so easy when you're surrounded by nature. And it's so scientific, no? Like you're surrounded by nature, you automatically remember God all the time. Because you're surrounded by God's creation. When you're in the city, you're surrounded by man's creation. So all you remember is the egotistical idea that we're the creator. But when you're surrounded by nature, you can't. It's very difficult to forget. Like it's like, oh, this amazing. So yeah, these are some thoughts. Would you like to say something about simplicity? Please. Yes, Gopaswami Prabhu, tell us something about simplicity. Or anything you want to share. About Bahulavan, anything.
Simplicity, sometimes I said simple life helps to have, it's easier to have human relationships.
Yeah. It's easier to have human relationships.
Yeah, you have time, you have not so many different things, human relationships. So then you get, simple nature, human relationships, and God. It's like natural. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I also. Yeah, I think we should also not go too long, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
To make it short, how can we develop Shastriya Shraddha? Like
by reading the Shastra.
Yeah. Because
okay, yes. No, it's a good point. Okay, so how do you develop Shastriya Shraddha? So yeah, just to I'll frame it for everyone, otherwise it doesn't. Yeah. So Swamis are mentioning there are 3 types of Shraddha. See, because when you begin the spiritual path, you have to have faith, right? Ado Shraddha. So there must be Shraddha. The word Shraddha means to put the heart. Dha means to place, and Rid means the heart. So to put your heart into something. So it's explained there are 3 types of Shraddha. There is Lokika Shraddha. There is Baladut, Padita Shraddha, and then there is Shastriya Shraddha. Shastriya Shraddha is also known as Svabhaviki. Shraddha, or natural faith. So everyone has faith, otherwise you couldn't be on this path. But we have different qualities of faith. One type of faith is lokika, which means worldly or cultural faith. One is doing this because of some kind of worldly expectation or some cultural pressure. Maybe you were born in this, therefore you follow it. Or maybe everyone else around you is doing it, so you feel I should also do it. But you don't really have any deep, you're just doing it because of your environment. So it's not a very strong type of faith. And then Baladut Padita means a forced type of faith. This is when you have some intelligence behind your faith, but it's something that has been forced into you by someone else. For example, if you hear a very charismatic preacher, then they give like a rah, 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 like a big class, and then immediately you have some faith because of their charisma, because of their conviction, but it's not your conviction. You've just heard someone and you think, this is what I need to do, but it's based on someone else's conviction. So this is, in one sense, it's better, but in another sense, it's still artificial because it's not your faith. Therefore, Shastriya Shraddha is a scriptural faith, or what we call natural faith. And this is the faith that one has because they have studied, they have understood. Who am I? What is this world? Where am I trying to go? Why should I do this? When one has studied Shastra, then their faith is much stronger. And therefore, this is a natural type of faith. So how do you develop Shastriya Shraddha? By two things. Svadhyay, by study, and by Sangha, by association. So it's simple. If you have these two things, then your faith becomes very pure. Then you can practice more powerfully. Everyone is practicing, but everyone is practicing with a different quality of faith, and therefore everyone gets a different result. So when we have Shastriya Shraddha, then we can really put our heart into it. Does that make sense? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a sequence. No, it doesn't have to be a sequence. It just depends what one's entrance point is. Different people will be different. Okay, Govinda, I'll continue. If anyone needs to go, please don't feel that you need to stay. So yeah, Govinda. Yeah, so again, Hare Krishna. So what about if someone has faith in the words of the spiritual master? Is that is that forced faith or is that natural faith? That's a good question. I think the question would be, why do you have faith in the spiritual master? If it's just like, this is my spiritual master, he's charismatic, I love the way, it's not a very deep conception of the spiritual master, then it would be like a forced faith. But if one has deep faith in the words of the spiritual master because of having deep faith that this person is close to Krishna, this person has bhakti, if one has that kind of depth of faith, right? Like just like you can have different levels of faith in Shastra, you can also have different types of faith in a person. So many people are convinced by a spiritual teacher not because of their purity, but because of their charisma. So if you're convinced by the teacher because of their charisma, the way they speak or the way they do this, then it's kind of a forced faith. But if you're convinced because of a teacher, because of their purity, then it's a deeper type of faith. Then their words can also be said. So it depends. I think also when we say like there are three types of faith, it's like the three modes of nature. So it's also not like you're A, B, or C, but it's usually like we are a combination of these, right? Like someone, say for example, someone was born in the movement, right? You went to Gurukul, for example. You're born in the movement. So naturally, some part of your faith is lokika, because you were born in the movement. So like, okay, you were socialized into this, so it's become, but maybe at a certain age you started reading Bhagavad Gita, like really reading it for yourself because you wanted to. Now what's happening is your faith is moving, right? So, you know, and it can also go the other way. Like say, for example, someone joins the Hare Krishna movement because they got a book on the street and they were really inspired by the philosophy. So it's a very pure type of faith in the beginning. But then they come into the movement, they become a bit lax, and then it becomes like, anyway, I don't connect with this so much, but I've been living with the Hare Krishnas for the last 20 years, so I've got nothing else that I can really do in my life, so let me just carry on. So now the faith has also gone to a lower quality. So it's dynamic. Faith is always moving like the modes, and the faith is mixed like the modes. They believe someone can give better answers. That's a good question. I think that the job of the guru is to connect you with Shastra. So if you have faith in the words of the guru, and if you actually have deep faith in the words of the guru, I think it's impossible not to then develop your faith in the words of Shastra. Because the guru is connecting you to Shastra, and the Shastra is helping you to connect to, it's like self-reinforcing. So, and that combination, right? Like Prabhupada was asked, what is the most important verse in Vedic scripture? So Prabhupada answered that question 7 times, I think, six or seven times, and he gave different answers every time. But on one of the occasions, Prabhupada said the most important verse in Vedic scripture is Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. That one should have implicit faith in the words of Krishna and also the words of the Guru. Just as one has implicit faith in the words of Krishna, one should have the same quality of faith in the words of the Guru. So I don't know if we can separate like the faith in the spiritual master and the faith in the Shastra. I think both are reinforcing and complementing each other. And so if someone, like say for example in your example, someone says, I'm listening to Prabhupada, but then I go to someone else because I feel like they can give better answers. My question would be, are they really listening to Prabhupada and connecting with Prabhupada's teachings of Shastra? Because if you were really listening to Prabhupada and you connected with teachings of the Shastra that Prabhupada has translated, that self-reinforcing faith of both of them would mean that you get all your answers. Does that make sense? Kind of. No. Yeah. So I think that, the Guru is meant to take you to Shastra, right? Guru, Sadhu and Shastra are not competing, they are working in tandem. I think it's hard if you try to put it in a sequence. Technically, Shastra is the most important, because you only know who is Guru and who is Sadhu because of Shastra. So actually, technically, Shastra, but then, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, you can't understand the Shastra except through the devotee. So, so there you have to figure that one out. Like, but yes, technically, actually, Shastra is like, why, otherwise, why did Bali Maharaj reject Sukracharya? He could reject Sukracharya because he knew Shastra. Otherwise, how could he reject Sukracharya? Because Sukracharya was telling him to do something which was against. So the moment the Guru tells you to do something that's against Shastra, immediately reject. Because the Guru gains their authority from transmitting Shastra. But then dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena katasa pantha. You cannot, the secret truths of dharma are hidden within the hearts of the devotees. So it's yeah, all that, yeah. Yes. He can't, yeah. He choked up, yeah. Yes. Oh, okay, you're trying to find... yeah, we can look, I'm not sure. But yes, Prabhupada on many occasions, he... yeah. Sometimes more than all the philosophy of hearing about Srimati Radharani or all the stories, if you hear the choking up of a pure devotee who has love for Sri Radha, maybe in that, more realization is coming than anything you heard. So that is, yeah, that is the bhav of a pure devotee. Yeah, it's so powerful, the bhav. I remember once I went to a funeral, and one Chinese person came to speak about the person. All of us we didn't know Chinese, of course. So he started to speak in Chinese about the person. So he was speaking and speaking and speaking, and then he became overwhelmed, but he continued speaking in Chinese. And I looked around and everyone was crying. I was looking around, everyone, I was like, none of you understand Chinese. It's amazing, it was an amazing sight actually. Everyone was crying. And I realized actually the bhav sometimes teaches you way more than the words. How will you, what will you say about, what can we say about Sri Radha's love? What can you say? Any, like sometimes you just have to say, just don't say anything. Because anything you say, it just, what would we say? Anything you say just feels like just diminishing. But then we try, we are like a dwarf trying to catch the moon. Kaviraj Goswami says, a dwarf trying to catch the moon. Topics of the spiritual world. Therefore he says, you can only, every bird can only fly in the sky as far as they can go. How you will fly in the expanse of the sky as far as you go, a little high, and then you have to come down again. Therefore, Akash anante yata pakshigan. Every bird flies in the sky according to their ability. So yeah, some things you just have to speechless. Oh, Baladeva. Sure. Suspended, they couldn't, like, yeah. 16,000, yeah. So Krishna expanded himself in 16,000 forms in Dwaraka, so why not just do one extra and stay in Vrindavan at the same time? That's good. You should become Krishna's manager, by the way. Well, in one sense, Krishna never leaves. Vrindavanam parityaja padamekam nagachati. Krishna doesn't leave. How can Krishna leave Vrindavan? Krishna leave Vrindavan. It's not possible. Vrindavanam parityaja. He can't give up Vrindavan. It's not possible. Padamekam nagachati. Not one step. Can't take one step away. Of course, he does leave, but he doesn't leave because he's there. Some acharyas say Krishna is there, but because Krishna externally seemed to leave, all the Brajabasis started crying and crying and crying. And because Krishna was still there, but they could not see because their eyes were just constantly filled with tears. Krishna is there. No, they can't see. Eyes are filled with tears. So in one sense, Krishna never leaves. But yes, externally Krishna did leave. Krishna's strategy is appear, disappear. Appear, disappear. Appear, disappear. He just keeps coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, because that's the way in which he churns the hearts of the devotees. Separation is a very, very mystical, again, I think is one of those things you can't, how can you verbalize, understand? Like the Sanskrit word for separation is viraha. Yeah, you understand. Viraha means separation in Sanskrit. But the double meaning of viraha is vishesha rahasya unmilam. Viraha means separation, but it also means vishesha, special, rahasya, confidential, unmilam type of meeting. How can you understand this? When you are separated from someone, you meet them in a very, very special way. How can you understand these things? It's very, very... you know, like sometimes you put your hand under a tap of boiling water, and for one moment it feels freezing cold. Have you ever had that? Or the other way around? Right. There's a sense in which the extremes meet together. So these are all the confidential ways in which Krishna is Rasa Raj. He's the king of rasa. So everything he does is only to increase the rasa. So in the rasa there must be meeting, there must be separation. The Goswamis say the river of love flows around two banks. Sambhoga, Vipralamba, meeting and separation. They must both be there. So, it's all Krishna is very, what can you say? There are many reasons. Like then also some people ask like, okay, Krishna went to Mathura. Oh, Mathura is only like 45 minutes away. So then some people say that why didn't the gopis just go and see him? If they were in so much separation, just go and see him. So then the acharyas give many responses why they didn't go to see him. Because they were thinking like, yes, we can see Krishna in Mathura, but Krishna in Mathura we can't enjoy with him. Like, because it's too formal, it's too regal, it's too royal. So yes, Krishna is there, but it's not Vrindavan. So Krishna outside of Vrindavan, we only want Krishna in Vrindavan. We want Krishna by the banks of the Yamuna. We want Krishna by Govardhan Hill. We want Krishna in the forest where nobody can see. Therefore, yes, we can meet Krishna in Mathura, but it's not the same. Like if you meet someone you love at work, there's no rasa. You can't express yourself. Everyone is looking, everyone is watching, it's so official. You can't. Oh, we want to take you to the forest. Why the forest? Because the forest is secret. The forest is concealed. In the forest there's risk. In the forest there's predators. The forest is a very, very unique setting. Why is Braj a forest? It's very interesting if you think about why does Krishna decide to perform his eternal pastimes in a forest? Very profound. There's a reason. So they don't want to be in the city of Mathura. Who wants to be in the city? We want to be in the forest. So like this, many reasons are given. Then another reason is, of course, Krishna said, I will come back, so they were waiting. No, we can't go, say we go. And then we go on one track and Krishna comes on another track and we miss him. Then he'll be here and we'll be gone. Like maybe he's coming, Just wait, relax, he's coming. He said he's going to come back. So all these emotions are going through them and ultimately they can't leave. So it's all. So yeah, all these things are there. Krishna is very, yes.
So, I repeat. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all the heart and with all the soul and with all the mind. And then he was saying also, thou shalt love the neighbor as thyself. And he concludes, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And I want to know, my question was, is there a kind of analogy for the second part of
love the neighbor?
Yeah, love the neighbor. Because I want to know if there is some teaching about this in the Vaishnava.
In Vedic theology, there is the concept of Atiti Devo Bhava. That the guest is as good as God. Oftentimes you'll find this in Vedic literature that a guest comes to your house. And actually what it is it's God coming in disguise as an uninvited guest. Atiti means a date. Atiti means one who comes without appointment. Right? So Atiti Devo, it's said that the uninvited guest is treated as good as God. Because the understanding is there that, anyway, so there's that. So I think my understanding of love thy neighbor is in this spirit. I stand to be corrected, so anyone can also pitch in on this one. But I think what the intimation of this commandment is that the neighbor should be as good as your own family. We tend in the world to create fences. And then the fences separate us and don't just separate us physically, but separate us in our hearts. And so my understanding of love thy neighbor is that there's a fence between you and your neighbor, but don't allow that fence to create a division of the hearts. That's my speculative. Does anyone else have a realization on love thy neighbor? What is love thy neighbor? I don't know. Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that's also another. Yeah, we accept the whole world as the family of Vasudeva. Like we're all one family, so there's no division. Yeah.
Charité commence chez soi. On devrait déjà donner la charité à ceux qui sont à la maison. On doit donner l'attention à ceux qui viennent, mais on doit donner une attention spéciale à ceux qui vivent avec nous.
Charity starts at home and must continue endlessly. I mean, every saying is good. Like, but I mean, in English, you have many sayings like that, right? Which are equally true. Like, say, for example, we say opposites attract. Agree? But then we say birds of a feather flock together. So which one is it? Sometimes we say in English like actions speak louder than words. But then sometimes we say the pen is mightier than the sword. Which one is correct? Sometimes we say many hands make light work. But then sometimes in English we say too many cooks spoil the broth. Which one is true? Yeah, both. Thank you, Father. Yeah, so like, yes, charity starts at home. There's truth in that. But at the same time, there's a beauty in accepting everyone as your family. So both are true. You have to do both. So, okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for presenting already three powerful angas of the most powerful 5. And from what I remember, in the first presentation there was a verse saying that each of them is powerful enough to
by themselves, yeah.
To give you love,
pure love for Krishna.
For Krishna. So my kind of skeptical question is that my case is so bad that I mean I need all 5, and I mean really like as much as possible, because otherwise it's hard to.
Oh, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's beautiful, right? Like these are also not independent. So when you do one, naturally you want to do the other, and they are all combined. They're self, reinforcing each other. Just fill your life as much as possible. At the end of the day, you'll know how much you've put into your eternal bank account, how much Nam Kirtan, how much Bhagavata Shravan, how much Sadhu Sangha, how much time with the deities or the forms. This is eternal wealth. Sadhana. Sadhana iti sadhana. What is sadhana? Sadhana is that which awakens your eternal wealth. Sadhana. Dhana means wealth. Sat means eternal. Sadhana literally means that which awakens your eternal wealth. So, okay, I'm looking at the time and it's hot. It's late. So thank you so much, everyone. Wonderful to be with you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.